Yeah, Dolph, long little flipper, man. We almost there Monday, so it's unfortunate that our brothers keep on being taken out, but that is the industry. So we doubling back on Snootie Wild, one of my partners. Shout out to Pat P and the good guys in Cleveland, Ohio. He wanted to know what really happened to Snootie Wild. Well, we're going to explore that right now in this video, part 1 and part 2. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. Now, everybody that don't know, it happened in Houston. Everybody knows Snootie Wild is from Memphis. He's from North Memphis, to be exact. Hooked up with Gotti back in 2014. Had a hit called Yayo. And in the recent years, it seemed like they cut him off. He had been real quiet up until the time that he was working on some new music, and he still had to provide for his family. So we're gonna leave that open for discussion on what he was actually doing to take care of, financially provide for his family. So in this video right here, let's start with the preliminary report. The preliminary report reads, now it's going to be a lot of inconsistencies in this report, in this whole investigation. A lot of blatant, and this is the HPD, and this is Houston, Texas, in the hood. This shit happened in the hood, and we all know what they good at cover-ups. It's looking like a hit on Snootie Wild, and we're going to get into that so that y'all can elaborate. Now, I'm not saying he was in the pharmaceutical gang, but a few other people are. So we're going to get to that because you know who runs that. Now, the preliminary report coming straight from the HPD, which, like I said, we already know their history of corruption. Just like the MPD and probably your PD, your state PD, your local PD. Well, let's get into it. Charges have been filed against a suspect arrested in a fatal shooting of a man at 4213 Adams Street about 2 a.m. on February 25th. The suspect, Ivory Duke Williams, 22, is charged with murder in the 185th State District Court. A booking photo of Williams is attached to this news release. He is accused in the death of LaPreston Porter, 36 years old. That would be Snootie Wild. Wow. Dolph was also 36 years old and was murdered 3 months before Snootie Wild. What's going on in the industry, people, and what's going on in the streets? HPD Homicide Division Detective A. Graff and Investigator S. Shetry reported. Officers responded to a report of a shooting at the above address. That above address is 4213 Alice Street. That's going to be very important before we get to the end of this video. And down show going to be important in part 2. So anybody out there that can assist me in locating who is living at this residence, 4213 Alice Street in Houston, Texas, around on or about February the 25th, 2022. That would be amazing. Because, yeah, that's the driveway he was backing out. But we'll get to that. Officers responded to a report of a shooting at the above address and found Mr. Porter in a ditch suffering from a gunshot wound in a ditch. Paramedics transported Porter, Snootie Wild, to a hospital where he was pronounced deceased the following day. During a preliminary investigation, now pay attention, people. This is gonna be this is where it begins at. During the preliminary investigation, a female stated her vehicle had gotten stuck in a ditch at the above address, and several unknown persons attempted to assist her. At that point, she stated Snootie Wild walked up to her and pointed a gun at her. The female then fled the scene on foot and said she heard gunshots, but was not aware Snootie Wild had been shot. The female called 911 and said the unknown suspects fled in a dark-colored sedan. Further investigation identified Williams as the suspect in this case. HPD SWAT officers arrested Williams on Wednesday, December 14, without incident. Right? That's what the preliminary report states, right? Now remember the female, and now let's get into this. The family, I already have did a little reaching out. His sister says that the HPD are blatantly disrespecting this whole case and painting a different kind of narrative. His blood sister says that Snootie Wild was called over there to that area. He was called over there to that area by a female, right? Just keep focusing on the female. And that the HPD got it wrong. Now, his son says, listen to this, true, and then we'll continue this discussion. Follow along now and tell me what you think. It's a setup. The females always do it. True.
1 year after a rapper from Memphis was shot and killed in Houston, a suspect has been charged in his murder. The family of 36-year-old Preston Porter III, known as Snootie Wild, says Porter's son played a vital role in helping investigators make an arrest in this case. Action News 5's Stephanie Douglas spoke with the family and has more. Stephanie. Joy, the family of Preston Porter III says some peace has been restored since an arrest has been made, but they say the arrest didn't happen for months after they gave the Houston Police Department evidence. Nearly 300 days after the shooting death of Memphis rapper Snootie Wild, whose real name is Preston Porter III, a 22-year-old has been charged with murder. Ivory Duke Williams was arrested by the Houston Police Department in Texas on Wednesday. He did finally get caught. It kind of brought peace to me a little bit in a way. Porter's 20-year-old son, Latarian Burt, says that peace came with a lot of patience. Burt says he went back and forth from Houston for several weeks after learning about his father's death. Just trying to find us, reaching out to different people. And, like somebody finally came to me with a tip. By the grace of God. According to Burt, he says he gave Houston police a social media tip in October. He says the tip was the alleged shooter admitting to the crime, but it took months for Porter's family to get answers. Even hired a detective because he was not communicating. The months of waiting for an arrest left Snootie Wild's mother stressed. My blood pressure stays up sky all the time. Our NBC affiliate in Houston reports during a court appearance this week, a judge claims that William claimed Porter had a gun and pointed it at his cousin. The judge says investigators never found a gun on or around Porter.
Never found a gun on or around Snootie Wild. Right? Now, you heard the son say this dude had made a Instagram post bragging that he was going around the neighborhood bragging about this hit on Snootie Wild. You heard the family has went to travel to back and forth to Texas over 10 times trying to find out, even hired a detective. Well, investigators obtained surveillance footage from a neighbor that showed what appeared to be Snootie Wild's vehicle accidentally backing into a ditch, not the female that claimed she backed into a ditch and Snootie Wild pulled up and pulled a gun on her. Let me read it one more time. Investigators obtained surveillance footage from a neighbor that showed what appeared to be Snootie Wild's vehicle accidentally backing into the ditch. HPD Lieutenant Ronnie Wilkins said during a news conference. The suspect vehicle pulled up and all three occupants, 2 men and a woman, got out of the car and started talking to Porter, he said. One gunshot went off and the suspects fled. They briefly returned to the scene before they left again. Pause on that. So the female that started this whole initiative talking about Snootie Wild pulled a gun on her while she was calling for help because she was backed in a ditch. Well, the damn lieutenant says you are alive. Now, if you know she's alive, what's going on with that? Because she said she called 911. I know y'all logged in that phone number. This police conference from this lieutenant blatantly discredits her whole story. She wasn't back there. It's on surveillance. She wasn't back in the ditch. He was at that address. His sister said somebody called them to that address, a female. And now the police has got this on camera of two men and a woman getting out of a vehicle while he in the ditch and talking. And then one gunshot went off. And she claims that she ran when he pulled a gun. Snootie Wild pulled a gun on her. But his family say he's not known to carry guns. I ain't never heard of him having a gun. He's a family man. True. All right. Okay, so this right here is the address, right? Hold on. This house right here, 4213, right? I don't know how current this picture is, but it appears back in that time, they got this address listed as the initial scene of the crime. Like he was at this address for some reason. And while he was backing out of this driveway, he accidentally backed into this ditch, right? This is where they found his body at, and the truck in this ditch after backing out of this yard, right? So, with that being said, we're going to be finding out who stayed here at that time in February 2022, I do believe, to answer some more questions. But we're going to make a part 2 video. So I was just showing y'all what was Snootie Wild doing over here in this neighborhood. You see all the trash on the ground. This is definitely the hood on Alice and England Road, right? Looks a little better on this side, but one street over, when you see this kind of shit, you already know what's going on. So this is in Houston. So I just wanted to clarify that and let y'all know, so y'all can see the actual close-up crime scene. And we just gonna find out who was at this address, because I got the official HPD report about this address right here. And so let's get into it. True. As reported by Houston police, a woman told officers that her car was stuck in a ditch and multiple people tried to help her. She said the rapper Snootie Wild then walked up to her and pointed a gun at her before she fled the scene on foot. Houston police said the woman heard gunshots as she ran away, but did not know Porter was shot. She then called officers for help. Bull BS. Because, like I said, they got you on camera. Now, if they got you on camera, why is the HPD playing games? As they known for cover-ups. This is looking like a setup and a hit on Snootie Wild. For what reasons? One shot is basically execution style. So I don't know if they thought they hit him in the head or the neck, but he got the job done. Now she is lying. So in part 2, we're going to be making some phone calls, and we want to know. Now, matter of fact, yeah, it's a Freedom of Information Act. We'll get all that, because you got to be listed as a, yeah, you know, Yeah, you call 911, and then you're gonna bring your stupid ass back to the scene after you were trying to distract the officers. I mean the investigation, which was looking like a hit. And the HPD got cameras, and the family told them, we had this information for 10 months. We've been telling y'all who did it. He's around the neighborhood bragging. What y'all trying to cover up? And then all of a sudden, 10 months later, you go get him. But I'm going to let the family speak again right now. Y'all listen to this. True.
Joy, the family of LaPreston Porter III says some peace has been restored since an arrest has been made. But they say the arrest didn't happen for months after they gave the Houston Police Department evidence. Nearly 300 days after the shooting death of Memphis rapper Snootie Wild, whose real name is LaPreston Porter III, a 22-year-old has been charged with murder. Ivory Duke Williams was arrested by the Houston Police Department in Texas on Wednesday.
Hearing that, he did finally get caught. It kind of brought peace to me a little bit in a way.
Porter's 20-year-old son, Latarian Burt, says that peace came with a lot of patience. Burt says he went back and forth from Houston for several weeks after learning about his father's death.
Just trying to find also, reaching out to different people. And, like somebody finally came and told me with a tip. By the grace of God.
According to Burt, he says he gave Houston police a social media tip in October. He says the tip was the alleged shooter admitting to the crime, but it took months for Porter's family to get answers. Even had a detective because he was not communicating. The months of waiting for an arrest left Snootie Wild's mother stressed. My blood pressure stays up sky all the time. Our NBC affiliate in Houston reports during a court appearance this week, a judge claims that William claimed Porter had a gun and pointed it at his cousin. The judge says investigators never found a gun on or around Porter. Reporting.
Oh, well, thank you, Miss News Lady, for that last little part, because the suspects, Ivory, whatever his name is, he said that Snootie Wild pointed a gun that they didn't find by his body or truck or nothing, because he never had one, pointed at his cousin. So thank you for that. Let me send a tweet out right now and let my people know we looking for his female cousin, one of his female cousins. If he got, I'm quite sure he got more than one female cousin. And that's who, because they double back on the scene. That's who, if she made the fake 911 call to throw the whole investigation out, she didn't depend on them damn cameras. And also, I showed y'all that they said they double back to the scene shortly after they did the shit. What's going on? Well, thank you for that, because we know who we looking for now. And I'm gonna let y'all, I'm gonna play one more little clip, and then we're gonna be covering that. We're going to be talking about that after we do our homework over here in part 2, and maybe it might be part 3 as this shit heats up. And it's about time anyway, because it's looking like a HPD cover-up and a damn show a sanctioned hit. And if we have to find out Snootie Wild was into the game, everybody got to provide for their family, but you know who runs Houston, and the game get deep. So with that being said, we're gonna do our homework, like I said, and be ready for part 2, probably part 3, however long it take, as we wait till Monday morning to see what kind of rabbit they gonna pull out the hat as far as the flipper man, Young Dolph. And shit, that's another brother, so same love for me. I do it for Snootie Wild too, because there's been numerous people asking about Snootie Wild since it happened, and I haven't seen that one, what we do, the power of social media, to expose some shit yet until now. So y'all support this right here, and Cash App $ TRURESULTS number 2, y'all know that, and I appreciate everybody that donate. Like, share, subscribe if you will, and like I always like to say, stay safe, stay blessed, bless, and stay true. Here's one more little clip, and then I'm going to holler at y'all in part 2.
Tips that Williams had been bragging around town about the shooting, but he wasn't taken in until months later.
The detective told me that that was not the person, that was the driver. And I told him to follow the evidence, because the evidence says different. And me being a retired police officer from Houston, Texas, I know what you have to do and what you don't have to do.
Now, Houston police say Snootie Wild was shot and killed back in February of this year. His body was found he was found lying in a ditch, and he was pronounced dead the next day. Police say they were notified of the shooting after a witness reported him having pulled a gun on her. Family told me there's also doorbell footage of the murder, and they believe 3 other suspects are still at large. Now, coming up at 10, we'll hear more from the family about the rapper's life and legacy, as well as the eerie Instagram post from the suspect that helped tip them off.